Hello, and welcome to another English live stream. Lynn, can you hear me okay? I'm not sure if I'm muted
I
or unmuted.
I can hear you. I can hear you.
You can hear
You're
me.
sounding. You are
Fantastic.
sounding a little bit raspy though, but I think it's because you've got a cold, isn't it?
I'm sounding like a small donkey,
No,
a little horse.
a little. Okay, that was a
A
joke.
little horse.
Oh, the first joke of the day.
And we're off. And we're off. If this is your first time watching this live stream, you're very, very welcome. My name's Craig from mansioningles.com, where you can study English for free if you are a Spanish speaker. Lots of Spanish support on that website. And if you want to listen to a podcast to improve your English, why not try listening to Aprender Inglés with Reza and Craig? It's for speakers of any language, but my co-host and I have been living in Spain for many years. And you can find that on the website at inglespodcast.com or wherever you listen to your podcasts. And I have one more website to share. This always makes Lynn laugh that I have so many websites.
So many websites. You'll be Google next, won't you?
Yes, that's going to happen. Yeah, that's going to happen, I'm sure. Over at englishcraig.com, and I'm Craig, you can join my conversation groups, and they'll be starting new groups at the end of this month, at the end of April. So if you'd like to improve your spoken English, your fluency, your self-confidence when you're communicating, then have a look at the website and we can get on a free Zoom call and I'll be able to give you all the details about that. And just sitting over there, very close to me here in Valencia, but not physically next to me on the other side of the city, it's my good friend Lynn.
Yeah.
Hi, Lynn.
Thank you. Hello, Craig, and hello, everybody. So if you haven't watched before, my name is Lynn. I only have one website. And for that, I hope you remember the name. It's putitlikethis.com. And I'm an online teacher too. And I kind of specialize in creating tailor-made courses for people. So if you have a specific objective in English, could be an exam, could be making a presentation, could be preparing to go on holiday. If you have a specific aim, then you let me know your aim and then I'll try to design a course that fulfills your objectives. So if you go to my website, putitlikethis.com, that's where you can get in touch with me. And you can also find out a lot more about the types of courses that I can offer. Okay?
There you go, putitlikethis.com. So if this is your first time watching and you've just joined us, say hi. Please tell us your name and where you are watching from, and we'll say hi to you in a few minutes. But first, we'll tell you what we're going to speak about today. So,
yeah, well,
what do we have today?
Well, I think 4 weeks ago, we started a series where we said we were going to cover the 5 senses. So sight, sound, hearing, touch, smell, and what's the 5th one?
Taste.
Taste, that's right. We haven't done that one yet.
Not yet.
Last time we did sound, and today we wanted to do the sense of sight. And we've called today's episode Out of Sight because we thought, does anybody know what out of sight means? It's a very common phrase in English, out of sight. And I don't know if anybody knows or if anybody's there yet. I can see that Javi's
joined us. Hi, Javi. Good to see you again.
Javi. Do you know what out of sight means? Sometimes it's written differently, isn't it, Craig? Sometimes it says out of sight.
Outer.
Outer. That's
double
like American. OUTTA and then sight, and it's all written together. Out of sight. The Americans say that a lot. Mm-hmm.
Well, I think they used to, but it was kind of like slang from the 1960s, flower power time, wasn't it? Like, hey, maybe. That's out of sight, man. Man, that's unbelievable. That's fantastic. That's out of sight.
That's a very good American accent you've done there, Craig. Well done.
I've been practicing. I don't think they use it so much these days, but you might hear it, as something that's really, really good. It's out of sight.
Yeah, so it can mean like fantastic, yeah. Javi's come up with one. He says out of sight means when it's far from view, far from view, Javi. And that's true. It can be, so maybe it's not in your vision, And also, or it could be hidden, for example.
Exactly. Yeah.
That's another meaning of it. And then there is a final one, which is an expression. It's only half of the expression. Out of sight, out of mind. I don't know if anybody's ever heard that one. Out of sight, out of mind. And that means that when you don't see it, it's very forgettable. So that often we talk about that with people, don't we? um, so when somebody maybe goes away and everybody forgets them, then they're like out of sight, out of mind. It's just that you don't remember them anymore. You just completely forget about it. But we also use it for work as well. No, people might say to you on holiday, "Oh, have you been getting a lot of work calls?" And they might say, "No, no, no, out of sight, out of mind. I'm not thinking about work at all."
And there's kind of an opposite idiom that you can use, which really means completely the opposite, which is absence makes the heart grow fonder. If you don't see someone that you
Ah,
care about, then you can say, yeah, I don't see that person. That makes them stronger. The emotional connection makes it stronger. Absence makes the heart grow fonder.
but that doesn't mean the same as out of sight, out of mind.
No,
Out of sight,
it
out of
kind of
mind
means
means
it's the
the
opposite
opposite.
though.
Yeah, you
It's the
want to
opposite.
forget them. The opposite.
Yeah.
That's right. I see. I understand. Yeah,
So it's the
you're right.
opposite.
Okay. I
Hi,
see that
Paula.
Paula.
Welcome.
Hi, Paula from Argentina again. Hello, nice to see you. Right. Okay, so we've got some vocabulary because there is lots of vocabulary to
Oof.
describe sight.
Lots
And
and
you'll
lots.
see today that we're going to be doing lots of vocabulary. And I was just saying to Craig before we started, it's really interesting because when we were writing all of this down, I realized that nearly all of my students use look at, see, watch, and notice. Those four, those are the top four. I mean, it's true that they are very common verbs, yeah? And then shortly, we're going to be teaching you lots of other verbs that you don't use, but English people do, actually. So often, maybe your teachers are not correcting you maybe enough. I think I'm guilty of that. So my students will be using these verbs and it's not quite right. They're not using them in the right contexts, but I never correct them because, of course, it's understandable.
Yeah.
So you might want to try to notice that if you're watching movies or you're reading novels, notice the other words that we're going to teach you today because they're there and a lot of people use them all the time. But anyway, let's start with the top four, eh, Craig?
Yep. So we've got look at, see, watch, and notice. Quite similar, but there are differences. For example, to look at something is when we're directing our eyes in a particular direction. For example, now I'm looking at you through the camera here, through the webcam. Now, it often goes with that preposition at, to look at something or to look at someone, but it doesn't have to. You can also say, hey, look over there. Direct your eyes in that direction. Look over there. But it's very often used with at. Look at this picture, look at this photo, etc.
And it's a very active verb. So look at is like an intentional action. So, for example, if I'm doing this and somebody says, "What's she doing?" You would
What's she
never
looking
say
at?
You would say she's looking at her phone. You never say she's seeing her phone. Okay, you always say looking at her phone because it's a voluntary action from me. So to look at is something that you actually do. It's a very active verb. Now, that's not the case with see because see is often, not always, but see is often an involuntary action. Just by opening your eyes, if you are fortunately if you're not blind, then when you open your eyes, you will see something, whether you want to or not. Is that right, Craig? Would you say?
Yeah, no, absolutely. So it's really passive. And
Uh-huh.
we spoke, was it last time, about the difference between speak. No, what was it? Last time we spoke about wasn't sight. That's today. Last time we spoke about
Last time we spoke about sound, and it's the
sound.
difference between
Listen and
hear and
hear.
listen.
That's right. Thank you. Listen and hear. So if you hear something, you're not really doing it on purpose. It's just something that happens without any effort. And it's the same with see. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
And also you have to be aware of the collocations. So can you see what I'm doing? Can you see me at the moment? Can you see something over there? So it's a very passive thing. It's
And
to do
also,
with
like, I think you gave the example, has anyone seen my glasses? Has anybody seen that? Or did you see my husband on the way in, Craig? He's down in your area. Did you see him?
No, I didn't see him. I didn't
No.
see him. I missed him.
Okay. So see is again that kind of involuntary action. Yeah.
Gemma's used it. Hi, Gemma. She's used it very well. It's a pleasure to see you again. It's a pleasure to see you too, virtually,
It is
Gemma.
you. Okay,
Now-
and then we have the word watch, right? Sorry,
Yeah,
were you going on? Yeah.
I was going to go on to watch, yeah. So moving on to
you
watch.
go ahead.
Now that's something you're intentionally doing. For example, you're watching TV. It's something that's moving. You're watching the game of football. You're watching your neighbor throw away the rubbish. You're watching your cat playing with the ball. So you're actively involved in something, and something is probably moving, like the screen is moving and you're watching it. You're watching
the action.
You're watching the sunset, or you're watching the sunrise.
Yeah. You're watching this video now, or this live stream. You're watching us because we are talking, we're moving, we're doing things. But we wouldn't say watching a phone, would we? We
No,
would say looking at the
looking
phone.
at, because
Even
the
if you're
phone's not
watching a
moving.
video. Well,
But
the
you would
phone's
say-
not moving, but
but you'd say
neither
you're-
is the television.
But you'd say you're watching a video on the phone.
Yes.
So
you
it's
would
the
say, "I'm
video
watching
that's
a video
moving."
on the phone. That's right. But we do say I'm watching television. That's true. And the television doesn't move. But it's because television is more in the sense
That's
of
true,
the
yeah.
programming, maybe.
I'm watching a film on TV.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's interesting. I never
Yes.
thought of that before.
But we do say to watch TV. But I think because there's nothing else interesting. A TV is yeah.
Yeah. So moving on to notice.
Let's move on. Notice.
Moving on to notice. Notice is one of my favorite words, because I'm always saying to my students, you have to notice things in English. You have to, when you're reading, when you're listening, notice the grammar, notice the collocations, notice the expressions, notice the way native English people speak, notice the way they use their voice. So to notice is to become aware of something, to become conscious of something, and to pay attention to it. So that's a tip, I think a very important piece of advice for improving your English, is just to notice the way native speakers use the language.
And it's interesting, the verb notice, because it is a very wide verb. So it is primarily to do with the sense of sight, but we also use it with the other senses too. So can you notice I've got a bump on my hand? Can you notice that? So like if we use it for touch, it's like to become aware of a change, or you can notice a smell. You can notice a sound as well. So notice is quite an interesting verb because it kind of goes over all of the senses, I think. And also when you taste, you say, can you notice there's a flavor of chocolate in that? Can you notice that? Do you notice that?
And of course,
so-
when it's a noun, it's also a notice that you read, like it's telling you something, it's giving you
Yes.
information when it's a noun.
Yeah. But it is, in a lot of cases, it's used with sight, to become aware, but you're not actively searching for it as such. Okay, right. I see that Hemma's joined us. Hi, Hemma. Nice to see you again.
So let's move on to a general question to get
Yeah.
you writing and using your English. If you had to describe the color blue to a person who's been blind since birth, how would you do it?
I do hope I don't have to answer that, Craig, because I find that really difficult.
Because you
That's
can't
hard.
compare it to things that are blue,
No.
like the sky or the sea. So how would you describe it to someone who doesn't have the sense of sight?
I think I read somewhere that only certain types of people can do that. That's not me, but there are some people who have this, like they see smells, they visualize sounds and smells. I can't remember what the name of it is, but it's some kind of talent that or skill that very few people have, but they actually see sound, or they in their mind's eye, it's visual. So because I have a problem, I haven't got the words to describe colors. We can describe shapes,
Yeah.
but it's very difficult to describe colors. So I don't know how you would do that with somebody who is blind.
Well, everyone's
And I don't know what blind people see, because, of course,
nothing.
there are people. Well, I'm not sure about that. Maybe, I don't know. Do you know any blind people? My uncle is blind, but he turned blind. So I think he can probably remember the colours because he has seen them. But I've never met anybody who's been blind from birth. But maybe there are many colours in their head that they see. I don't know.
As Javi said, it's there's no way to explain color blue to a person as they've never seen the sky.
The sky, yeah, or the ocean, or
Well, I thought of an idea
oh,
using the
good. I'm
sense
glad
of
you've got you've got an answer. Go on.
using the sense of touch to describe the color blue. You'd get them to hold an ice cube, and then to describe the color red, you'd get them to touch something hot. Because for me, blue is cool and red is hot.
Okay.
Do you agree with that? Does that make sense or
There's a
not?
connection. There is a connection.
Ice cold, ice blue. Maybe.
Yeah, I suppose, yes. Never thought of that. That's quite clever. Oh, I think you get 10 points for that, Craig.
Thank
well
you.
done. Everybody,
you.
say well done to Craig. He's actually got a good idea about how to describe a colour.
Speaking of being blind, obviously blind is when people cannot see anything. There's an expression to turn a blind eye to something, which is an idiom, and it means to ignore something, especially something that's wrong or it's not morally correct. For example, the policeman accepted money or accepted a bribe, but his colleagues turned a blind eye. They didn't say anything to the superior. So if you turn a blind eye to something, you ignore it. You don't pay any attention to it.
Yep. Okay. Right. Now we're getting to the heavy bit now, right?
Now we get
So
into
far-
the meat and potatoes
That's
of the vocabulary. So
Here we go.
have you seen these words before? People watching out there in English land, have you seen these words?
Yeah. So we have peep. They're nice words. Peep, peek, peer, stare, glare, and squint.
Squint.
Now, they are all alternative words to describe the way that somebody is looking at something. So not just he's looking at his phone or he's looking at something, but this is peep, peek, peer, stare, glare, and squint. Javi says he only knows stare. Okay, well, I'm glad, Javi, because you're usually very good on this show. So I'm glad that we can teach you 4 or 5 more new words. I don't know if anybody else knows any of the other ones, but we'll explain them to you.
Just let me highlight the vowel sounds there, because the first 2 words have the E sound, which is a long vowel sound. Peep and peek. And peer is a diphthong, 2 vowels together. So it's ear, the same as your ear that you hear with. So it's ear, peer. And the next 2 have the same vowel sound, which is air, like the air that you breathe, or hair. So it's stare and glare. And the last one, squint, is just a very short I sound for the vowel. So it's squint.
Good. Okay, right. So I shall explain the difference between peep, peek, and peer. Is that all right? Yeah,
Yes, I'll
they're
take
kind of
stare, glare, and
related.
squint.
Right. Okay. I got I. Right. Okay. So peep. These three words, they sound similar, but they do have a slight difference. So first of all, peep. Peep is when you take a quick look at something. You're looking at something, but usually it's difficult to see the thing, or maybe you are hiding and you don't want people to see that you are looking at them. Now, behind this word peep, it can be used neutrally. So I'll take a peep at that. I'll have a quick look at something. But generally, it's quite negatively laden. So we even have a collocation which is a peeping Tom. And a peeping Tom is somebody who like looks through glasses, and I don't know, maybe he's looking at people through their windows to see what they're doing, or maybe he's secretly trying to look into the changing rooms to see naked people. And of course, you might have heard of this when you're on your travels, that sometimes if you go to the red light areas, not something that I usually frequent, but there are people who, like, if you go to Amsterdam, for example, you might see in Amsterdam, because their red light area is quite a tourist attraction. People are walking around it in the old town, and you often see neon signs, and it will say peep show. And a peep show is where I think they have naked girls dancing, and then people are looking at them from behind screens. So it's like a secretive look at people, peep. So it's a bit of it's not a really nice word, that one. Well, the idea is not nice of peep. Now, peek is like peep, but it hasn't got that negative connotation. Now, there's actually a little game that I used to play with my kids, and it's peekaboo. Peekaboo. Ooh, and you do this with babies, when you hide behind something and then you look at them and the babies laugh. And that is called peekaboo. Peekaboo. And to peek is to take, like a peep, it's a quick look at something. Maybe you hear somebody outside, and before you open the door, you have a little look at them through the window just to check it's somebody that you want to open the door to. So you take a peek. It collocates with the verb take. And then the last word is to peer. And to peer is, again, when you look at something and you've got a bit of difficulty seeing the thing, just like peep and peek. But when you peer, you're looking at it for a longer period of time. And there's a very common collocation, to peer over somebody's shoulder. So if you imagine I'm reading something and Craig comes up behind me and he wants to see what I'm reading, he might lean over me and look like that. And that is to peer over somebody's shoulder. So it's to look at something with concentration, with difficulty, but for a longer time. Peep and peek is a short time, also with difficulty, but peep is a little bit negatively charged, and peek is okay. And peer is to look at something for a little bit longer, but from a position of difficulty.
You can also do this and peer over your glasses.
Over
Some
your
teachers do that, don't they? If the students are misbehaving, they'll peer over their glasses to look at a student. Or if you're driving and it's really foggy or misty or there's smoke, then you peer through to try and see the road.
See the road, that's
to
right.
see with difficulty. So stare is when you're looking fixedly at something. So it might be in anger. You might be very angry at someone and you stare at them. So stare has the same preposition as look, to look at, to stare at.
I have to say this. Has anybody seen Paddington? Paddington, the movie that it's out now. Paddington Bear is famous for his hard stare. So Paddington Bear is a very polite bear. But when anybody misbehaves or does something wrong, instead of shouting at them, he puts on his hard stare.
He
And a hard
stares.
stare is like, and he looks so long that then the people apologize. And if you see the film, you've got to look up, probably on YouTube, look at Paddington's hard stare. You'll never forget it. It's lovely.
And to glare is to look intensely at something. Also, often with anger. So you're angrily looking at something. To glare at someone who's done something wrong or done something bad. We also speak about the glare of the sun, because the sun can be glaring. It can almost blind you, especially when you're driving. I can't see because of the glare from the sun. So when you're glaring at someone, you're looking with a lot of intensity. You're being very intense and probably very angry.
Angry. I think that's the difference, because you can stare at your phone, for example. You can stare at your phone for many hours. I do.
As we do, yeah.
As we do. But it's not with anger. But to glare is always with anger. But they're pretty much the same type of look, isn't it? It's a long, intense look.
Exactly. And the last one, to squint, is, well, I'll just demonstrate. You're just closing your eyes and you're trying to see something, and that's what I have to do without my glasses. If I want to read the label on some food or some very small print and I don't have my glasses, then I squint, because sometimes squinting helps you to see a bit clearer. So to squint is to close your eyes partially, a little, so that you can see something.
I was wondering when we were writing this, because I mean, I've lived in Spain for a long time, but maybe it's just because my Spanish is not very good. But do you think Spanish has all of these words?
They don't know. They have some, but I don't think they have so many to describe so many different ways of looking.
Ways of looking at people.
Yeah.
Because I think English is quite unusual in that they have, I suppose, like the Icelandic people, isn't it, who have people from Iceland and Greenland, they have thousands of words for snow, don't they? Or hundreds of words.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah. So
Exactly.
we have lots of words for looking at people. Okay, right. So have you learned those? Peep, peek, peer, stare, glare, and squint. Because now we have test time.
We're going to test you.
We're going to test you. Ha! And we have 6 photographs there. You can imagine that the top left photograph is number 1, then go along. Number 1, number 2, number 3, number 4 on the bottom line, 5 and 6. See if you can write in the chat. Can you remember the word that describes the look that is in those pictures?
So this is number 1, yeah, number 2, number 3,
I don't
4,
think they can
5, and
see.
6.
Yeah, but they can't see your mouse on that.
You can't
So
see my
if you're
mouse.
moving your
Okay.
mouse. So the 2 people in the top left-hand corner, that's number 1, the boy and the girl. The one with the hole.
The boy
is
in
number
Amsterdam.
2. Number 3, somebody looking through the blinds. Number
Nosy
4,
neighbour.
the lady with the glasses. Number 5, the man in the hoodie. And number 6, the cat. Can you write in and see if you remember the types of looks that they're giving?
Yep. See what you think.
And in the meantime, Craig, you can tell us how often you do those types of looks.
Shall I say what they are then?
No, but you should just say how often you do them. I'm giving people time to write in their answer.
All right. So, well, we do. I mean, I don't often.
Do you do those looks, all of them?
I do, but I do some more than others. So I don't do the angry ones very often. Occasionally, but not very often. I don't think I'm particularly nosy, so I don't look at what neighbours are doing, and I'm not curious to see what's happening outside. So, and because I work by myself, I'm probably not looking over anyone's shoulder. So there are some that I don't do very often, and some that, I do quite often. What about you?
Well, I definitely do number 1, I think, because I'm a mum and I've got girls and kids and people in my house, and I want to see what they're doing, and I am nosy. So number one, yes, I'm sure. Number two, no. But I mean, no, I don't think I do that. Number three, occasionally, I would say. I am curious. I'm a curious person. So if I hear noises, I might have a little look out the window. Uh-huh. Number four, no, because I haven't got that sight problem. So it's very rare that I have to do number four, thankfully. Number five, well, I'm a mummy, so I'm sure I've looked like that at times.
Yeah.
And number six, yeah, maybe.
Okay. Well, some people are answering, so I mean, Gemma can't remember them. So don't
You
worry,
weren't paying attention, Emma.
we'll revise those later. We will review them. Shada has given us number 3 as peak.
Peak, yes.
That's this one. Number 5 as stare. Very good.
That's right.
And
number
the cat.
4 as squint.
The cat squinting.
No, number 4. Number 4.
Number 4 squint. Oh, number 4 squinting. Yeah, you're right, Shada. Well done.
Yeah, Shada's right.
And Paula.
Peer, peep. All right, hang on a second. Peer, you haven't put the numbers, but you've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, but you've got number 1 and number 2 the same. Number 1 is correct, peer. So the boy is peering over her shoulder. And then I don't know, you've got a kind of bit mixed up there, I think, Paula, because number 2 you've put as the same one. Number 2 is actually peep, because that's the one that's a bit sort of shady when people do that. Number number 4 is squint. Number 5 is glare, and number 6 is squint. No, that's not right. That you got them in the wrong order there, Paula. Sorry. Shall I give the answers? Let me give you the answers. Otherwise, I'm getting all confused here. Number 1 is peer, peering over the shoulder. Number 2 is in Amsterdam. That's peep, peeping Tom, peep. Number 3 is peek. She's peeking through the window. Number 4 is squint. The lady is squinting because she can't see something. Number 5, I think, is quite glare. I think that's quite angry, number 5. Would you say number 5? And number 6, I think the cat is staring at you. Craig, we can't hear you. You're on mute.
Oh, I'm sorry. That's because I was coughing. Yeah, okay. I agree with you. That's the cat. Yeah, the cat is staring at you.
Staring at you.
Definitely. Well done.
Great.
Fantastic.
Well done. Okay, right. I mean, it's a bit tricky, but you might not remember all of them, but maybe remember 1 or 2, because it will vary your vocabulary a lot.
So speaking of staring and looking intently at someone, in some cultures, making that direct eye contact and staring like the cat was doing could be considered disrespectful. I've put
disrespectful or respectful?
I've put respectful. I meant to put disrespectful. I apologize.
Yeah, that's all right.
Let me change that.
Okay.
What about your culture? Is it disrespectful, or is it okay to stare at people?
Yeah, when my girls were little, I used to say to them, "Don't stare, don't stare." And now my girls are older, and they say, "Mum, stop staring," because apparently I do it a lot.
Oh no, it should be respectful. Oh, I'm an idiot. It should be respectful, because then I've put while in others it can be seen as rude. Oh, Craig, come on, get with it. So it should be respectful. Now, I've noticed that, because when I first came to Spain, I noticed that people were staring in the street a lot more than in the UK. In some areas of the UK, especially at night, in some areas that are not very safe, staring can get you into a lot of trouble. It's not considered polite to stare at people in the UK, and I think it's quite tolerated in Spain. Would you agree?
Do you know, I don't know that. I've never noticed that, Craig, to be honest with you. I've
That's
never
my opinion.
noticed that. But it is true that in the UK, it's best not to stare because some people take it very badly. And I think it's probably because a stare doesn't really have any bad intention apart from nosiness. You're just nosy. You want to see something. But a glare is angry. And that's the problem because those looks are very much the same, staring and glaring. And if people think you're angry with them, then it can make them aggressive. So I think that often in the UK, we don't stare at people because it's considered aggressive
I think
behavior.
when the way to notice the difference, if you're staring at someone, then you're just looking at them without looking away. So you're fixing your eyes on that person, and your expression is quite blank. You're just looking at them for a long, long time. But if you furrow your forehead here and your eyebrows go like this so that you look angry and you stare, that's a glare. Because you can see the anger on the person's face. You can see that their eyes are going narrow, that their forehead here has got lines in it. That's a glare.
Yeah, possibly. Unless
Anyway,
you have cosmetic surgery, of course.
unless you have Botox,
Botox, and then you're staring all the time.
Well, you can catch someone's eye, but they're not throwing the eye at you. If you catch someone's eye, you only attract their attention. Imagine you're in a very crowded bar and you want a beer and you can't get served. There are so many people. You need to, hey, over here. You need to catch the waiter's eye or catch the bar person's eye. So make sure that they're looking at you and you catch their attention to catch their eye.
Okay. All right. We have a few more verbs as well. So
We do. Here they are.
Right.
Let's have a glimpse at these.
Yeah. Wink, blink, gaze, glance, and glimpse. I can't do the first three because the first one I am anatomically impossible for me. It's anatomically impossible.
Really?
For me to
You
do the
can't
first
wink?
one. I can't do it. No. I'm sorry. I never could.
I'll have to demonstrate. This is a wink.
Right.
So you
That's a
close one eye and then open it again. Do it quickly. That's a wink. It can be with either eye. Doesn't matter which eye.
You're very clever that you can do it with either eye. I can't do it with either.
And
You're
winky dexterous. Winky dexterous.
dexterous. So you're winking. And what I do when I try to wink is I do this.
You're blinking. Yeah, that's a blink.
And I'm blinking. I end up doing it with both eyes. But unfortunately, I cannot control my eyes separately. So I can only blink. And so I can't wink. And
So
then
that's-
gaze. That's wink
That-
and blink.
That's the difference. The blink is with two eyes and wink is with one.
And then gaze is a little bit like stare and glare, because to gaze at something is to look at something fixedly for a long time. However, when you gaze at something, it's with love. It's not with any bad intention. It's not with anger. It's with admiration or love or desire. So you can gaze fondly into your lover's eyes, or you can gaze at the stars. We say stargazing as well. So gazing is to look for a long time, very fixedly, at something that you love.
Well, you can also gaze out the window, which is just looking into space.
True, that's true. But it's not angry. It's
No,
definitely
it's not angry.
So maybe,
No, it's
maybe
passive.
we'll moderate that. We'll say neutral to positive is gaze.
Yes.
Whereas stare and glare is stare can be neutral maybe, but going down, and glare is definitely negative.
Correct. Yeah. Now, very different is to glance, because you're not fixedly looking at something for a long time. You're looking and looking away. So it's very quick. So you intentionally look at something and then quickly look away without focusing on it. So you
Quick glance.
you can have a quick glance at something to notice it quickly and then look away.
It's
Oh,
a
that
little
man
bit,
glanced at me.
yeah, it's a little bit similar to peak, but I think with peak you have more attention behind it when you peak at something, yeah, where because it's something quite quickly. But a glance, a peek, you want the information, yeah? You're trying to understand detail, where a glance is not very detailed, is it?
No.
It's a momentary motion. Uh-huh. And then glimpse.
Well, finally, glimpse. If you catch a glimpse, that's a very common collocation. If you catch a glimpse at something, then you see it very briefly. For example, if there's a lady sitting down with a very short skirt and she stands up, maybe I catch a glimpse of her stockings, for example. So you see something that you're maybe not supposed to see
Unintentional. Yeah,
unintentionally, but it's for a
unintentional.
very, very short time to catch a glimpse of something.
Something. Glance and glimpse are very similar. They both begin with GL, and they're also very similar because it's a very brief vision of something. But with glance, I think glance is intentionally, you intentionally take a glance, but glimpse is unintentionally. When the girl stands up and you see her stockings, you were not looking for her stockings. If you were, you would be a peeping Tom.
I would
It's
be a
not
peeping
peeping.
Tom. Yep. I would be
That's
a
not
peeping
peeping.
Tom.
That was just glimpsing.
But I don't know if you agree, but I think generally speaking, glance is used more as a verb to glance at something, whereas
Yes,
glimpse is more
it's more
of
like
a
a
collocation
patient
with catch because you're
catch a glimpse.
catching a glimpse unintentionally.
Yes,
Yeah.
that's right. Yeah.
So let's go through those one more time. We've got some definitions here as well. To wink, to intentionally close and open one eye quickly while someone's looking at you. To intentionally close and open one or both eyes quickly is to blink. Hence the expression in the blink of an eye. It happened very quickly. In the blink of an eye. And gaze, Lynn?
Is to look steadily and intently at something, often with admiration or wonder. You gaze into his eyes, it's very romantic, or you gaze at the stars. Glance is to to glance at something is to look at something quickly or briefly, but without focusing on it. So it has a relation to peak and to peak, but peak has got more detail. Glance is you look at something, but just very briefly because you haven't got time. You had a quick glance. And glimpse, it'll be coming up. That's the same, but it's unintentionally, and it's usually used in the phrase "catch a glimpse of." I caught a glimpse of
Okay.
something. Right. So quite a lot of vocabulary there. Yeah.
Yep. Shall we go to some questions?
Yeah, let's
I-
have a little bit of discussion. You can tell us what you think.
Which,
I hope you've learned something, though. I hope we've given Javi a run for his money today. Have we, Javi? Have you learned a few more words? I hope so.
we hope so. Have you got a favourite question here? Because I don't have any more banners with questions on them. I can put them in the chat. Anyone you
Okay.
fancy discussing?
Yes, I have if you could give yourself a superhuman visual ability, like zooming in on tiny details or seeing through objects or night vision, which one would you choose and why? That wasn't my question, that was Craig's, but I thought that was a very good question, Craig. If you could give
Superhuman.
yourself a superhuman visual ability.
Because
So-
Superman had X-ray vision, didn't he? Superman's got X-ray vision. And then there's another superhero from the Avengers. There's the guy who wears sunglasses, and when he removes his sunglasses, he's got like these laser beams that destroy things. I
Okay.
can't remember what his superhero name is, but he takes off his glasses and zoom, there's these
Yeah.
lasers that come out and burn things. Yeah.
I know what I would like. You know what I would like is a photographic memory. Some people at school, they could, like when it came to studying, it used to take me ages to remember things by heart, to learn things by heart. And I know I have friends who can open a book and just read it, and not even read it. They just have this photographic memory. They can remember immediately where the things are on the page and everything. They remember such detail. And of course, that's to do with memory. It's not only to do with sight, but it's the idea that they can read really fast and they can remember it. And I read slowly, and I have to work hard to remember a lot of things. Mm-hmm. Yeah, so I'd like a photographic memory. What about you?
That's very tempting. That is a very tempting to remember things. I think I'd like to be able to see through walls and have sight like Superman can do, where he can see through things and see what's happening in the next room, or just have incredible vision. Maybe see a long distance, like you're wearing binoculars and you can see something coming from miles away. That would be cool. Yeah.
I don't know though. I thought it might be cool to like see what's in the next room and things, but then it would take all the fun out of life, wouldn't it? Because you would see everything all the time. I think it could make you quite anxious as well. Because I did
Yeah.
think about saying it would be quite nice to sort of to be able to see through your body, to see where it is that's hurting you, when you have like an ache or a pain. And I often get back problems, and I would love to be able to see, it's that muscle there. That's what I have to press. But then again, it could make you quite anxious, couldn't it? And it would be quite yucky as well to see all of the
I saw
things
that
inside your body.
there's a very old film that I saw years ago about a man who had that gift of being able to see through things, but it got worse and worse and worse and worse, or stronger and stronger and stronger. And eventually he got so anxious and it was so stressful that he took his eyes out.
Oh God.
That was the end of the film.
Yeah, I think it can be too intense, no? It's sometimes not nice to see everything, is it? Okay. And nobody was inspired by that question. Nobody's given us an answer.
No, nobody's written anything about that. So let's have another one. Let's see what we've got here. Let's try this one. Do you think that modern technology, such as virtual reality or augmented reality, will change how we experience the world visually? What's your view on that? If you are watching live, put your thoughts in the chat and we will discuss them and show them on screen. What do you think, Lynn?
Well, I know that I do have a friend who is getting older now, and she can't travel as far as she used to. She used to travel a lot, and now she can't travel because of health problems. And she is using virtual reality to travel. So she goes to, I don't know where she goes, but she puts on these glasses and things, and they spend hours, and they're like visit India or something.
Oh, wow.
And she's really a great fan of it, because she said it's great. It's like being on holiday, but she doesn't have to travel.
Yeah.
So I suppose it's got something. I suppose. I don't know. It's not something I've ever done. I have tried those virtual reality glasses, and it was kind of like, it was an interesting experience, but it's not one that I'm particularly keen to repeat,
Did you feel dizzy? Did you feel a bit sick?
No, I just thought, it's like, yeah, it's interesting. But it's like, for me, it's not real. I'm not very good at getting into virtual reality. I think, I don't know why, actually, because like I have quite a lot of imagination, but I think that's what bothers me. I think it's because it doesn't allow me to employ my own imagination with things. It's like it's all pushed to you, and I don't like that.
Also, I don't think it's ready yet. I mean, the idea that you put on these very heavy glasses and you kind of need to forget that you're wearing them in order for it to work. Because if you remember you're wearing glasses, it takes away the magic of what you're seeing. So I think it will be very interesting maybe in 10 years' time, 10 years' time. But I don't think it's ready yet. I don't think we're there yet.
I think that we have a problem as well now, because I notice this in education, is that education is becoming very, very visual. So it's every time a teacher stands up now, there's always like a PowerPoint presentation or a Canva presentation. And I am, on the one hand, I can see that it's very effective. It's great if you have visuals because it helps learning and it helps you remember things. But I also have this, I'm getting a bit tired of it. It's like that you're constantly living your life watching things, maybe because of course we are staring at our phones a lot now. There's a lot of videos. There's a lot of things on TV now that we tend to watch a lot, like Netflix and everything else. And I find it a little bit tiring. And I also think that my other senses, I'm they're declining, like I'm not feeling or smelling or hearing things as well because I'm always focused on the visual. I think there's a predominance of visual, isn't there? And when we like drive into the city, you get all this advertising everywhere, and it's all, I don't know, your visual senses are being hijacked all the time, I think.
Yeah, but that's also because, as I said, we're not there yet. I mean, I can remember going to a cinema where the chairs are shaking when there was an earthquake,
Uh-huh.
for example. So you had that other sense that was activated. So I think virtual and augmented reality needs to go the next step, where you are smelling things and you are feeling things and you are, and not just hearing and watching. So it needs to go in other dimensions. And then I think then it will be very exciting. But yeah, it's not quite there. I agree with you. It's not reality. So
No.
it's just trying to be. Well, Ada has had a stab at what we showed before with the picture. Let's
She
see
got
how
them all
she
right.
did. She got them all right. Yeah, peep,
Peek, squint, glare, and
glare and
stare. Well
stare.
done, Ida. Uh-huh.
Yeah, Ida's got
That's
it.
really
Well done.
great. Well done.
So, shall we just recap that first group of vocabulary, and I think we'll wrap it up because we need to.
Okay. Uh-huh.
Just let me get rid of this banner and go back to peep. So,
So go on
go
then.
on,
You do
go ahead.
peep because I've been
Okay,
peeping all the time.
peep. Okay, so to peep is to. Here's my book. I'm just peeping from one side. A furtive look, which is usually like a kind of shady, as Lynn said, a bit negative, a bit dark. The way people look sometimes. You're peeping around a corner. You're peeping. You're looking at something maybe you shouldn't be looking at. So that's peep. And as we said before, peeping Tom is someone who looks at something that they shouldn't be looking at. Maybe something sexual, for example, peep show. That's peep. And peek, Lynn. Very similar.
So it's a very similar way of looking, but also often because you're not supposed to be looking, but there's nothing shady about that. It doesn't imply, it hasn't got that negative connotation. So you might have, maybe, for example, in school, when kids are doing exams, maybe, they don't know the answer and they might just take a little peek at their partner's answers. It's nothing really, really negative in the sense, it's not as serious as peeping. I think peeking is we all do it. We have a peek. Often when I'm sitting in the metro and people are sitting next to me and they're reading a book, I can't resist it. I'm often peeking to see what are they reading. Which is not good, is it? We can't hear you, Craig. You've muted yourself again.
Thank you. I
Sorry.
forgot. I often peek on buses over someone's shoulder if they're on their phone. So not necessarily, but I'm just very curious to see what people are doing with their phone. So I peek sometimes just to see if they're messaging or watching videos or what app are they using. I'm very nosy on buses.
And
The next one.
I've just thought of another classic example when people peek. In a theatre, the actors, before the show starts, sometimes they peek through the curtains to see the audience, how many people are there, So that's like taking a little peek, and that's fine. But it's not a peep. There's nothing sinister about it.
The next word we had was to peer, which is looking at something with a degree of concentration. For example, you're driving, it's very foggy, or it's very misty in the morning and you can't really see the road, so you're peering through the windscreen of the car so that you don't have an accident, or you can peer over the top of your glasses just to look with concentration or difficulty.
It's a bit of a longer action. Peer is a longer action than peek or peep. And then
Right.
stare is a really long action, and that's when you look at something or someone for a very long time, and it's usually in a fixed way, often without blinking as well. Did you ever play at school, Craig? Did you ever have stare out competitions?
Yeah, if you had to stare without laughing, and if you laughed...
No, without blinking.
without blinking.
I remember with like people, like I would be going like this and then they would be staring, and the first person to blink lost.
And your eyes start watering.
Yeah. And they were like stare out competitions we used to have at school.
And then one step further, glaring is to stare, but with maybe anger or a disapproving expression. So you disapprove, you don't like what somebody's done, and you glare at them. It's very common for parents to glare at their naughty children if they do something bad. So to look at someone with anger.
Or if Craig is looking at your phone on the metro over your shoulder, you might turn around and give him a glare.
That's happened before. Yeah, that's
Has
happened
it?
before. Yeah. But, it's a public place. If you don't want me to look, put your phone away. So,
Okay. These ones we can just show you. Squint is to look with your eyes partially closed because you can't see something. Squinting, like that.
that was it. That was the last one in that group.
Oh, okay.
That's it. And we revised wink, blink, gaze, glance, and
Blink,
glimpse.
gaze, glance, and glimpse. Okay. All right.
So, let's see if there are any other comments. Oh, Ada's given her opinion on virtual reality in the education system. Yes, also medically, Ada, I think, where student doctors and surgeons can practice operations before actually doing it on a human. Could be very useful for that. People with phobias, perhaps, could be helped by therapists and psychiatrists to overcome their phobias using... So there are many applications, I think, that we haven't yet explored, but I think they need to get a little bit better first. Yeah. Anyway, thank you very much for your company if you have been watching live. If you're watching the replay, hello. We hope that you've enjoyed this and got some good vocabulary and learned some new words. And we'll be back probably in, I think, 3 weeks now, isn't it,
In
Lynne?
3 weeks because we have Easter. So
Easter break.
We'll be back on the 24th, I think.
Of April, yes.
On the 24th. And we will be back at the normal time. Today was an exception that we started earlier. Is that right, Craig? We'll be back at 8:45 on the 24th?
I'm guessing, yeah. But as usual, look at the normal channels. We're on Twitter, we're on Facebook. And if you're a Patreon member and you're watching, then I'll send out Patreon messages as usual. And if you're on the private Facebook group, you'll get messages there too. So there's lots of ways that you can see the next date and time. Just keep an eye out. Keep a glimpse.
Keep your eye on the ball.
Keep
That's
your
what
eye
we
on the
say.
ball. And you'll find out when the next one is.
Yeah. Okay. So I'll just tell you just at the end then, my name is, if you didn't know from the very beginning, my name is Lynne. I'm an online teacher. I make tailor-made courses. If you're interested in online classes, you can go to my website, putitlikethis.com. You can find out more about what I do, and you can also get in touch with me over that. Okay?
And my name's Craig, and I have conversation classes. You can find more information on the website, englishcraig.com. I'm happy to jump on a short Zoom call with you, and we can speak about your needs in English and if I can help you with conversation and fluency. And if you want to improve your listening skills, why not listen to our podcast at inglespodcast.com or wherever you get your podcasts. And if you're a Spanish speaker, and I know some of you are who are watching this, then mentioningles.com has free and paid resources to help you with your English. So, until next time, have a lovely weekend.
We will see you soon, we hope,
On the other side.
on the other side. Okay. All right. Take care. Bye bye,
Take care.
everyone. Bye bye.
Bye.
Bye.